turned the heater off so there wouldn't be any background noise. And I've got this, which makes some level of noise. I don't know if this video... Immediately self-conscious. I wanted to wear pastels today, but like, you know, not exactly standard sized person, so still learning how to style this or not style it, or I don't know. Let's give it a shot. So I am on an unmasking journey. And what that means is for my autism and ADHD, I'm, especially the autism, on a journey to learn how to be myself again while still living in this world and society that is not very me, people like me friendly. So something they don't really tell you when you're on this journey of like self-discovery and like refinding yourself, especially as an adult, right? Like as a kid, like no one cares. Everyone expects kids to be wild, to be crazy, to behave a certain way. But like nobody really expects it for adults. Once you hit a certain age or at a certain peak, you have to know, right? Like you've got to have all the answers. Everything needs to be unlocked and solved and ready. You're supposed to know how you look, how you act, how you think, walk, talk, all that stuff. And if you don't have all those answers, you're like a failure, right? Like you're failing as being an adult human in this world. And like no one will say that to you in those words exactly, but like their actions and the facial expressions, the very weird, borderline rude facial expressions that you get, that'll tell you. They're like taking a step away from you, or like, you know, the like kind of smile where it's not like happiness, it's more like, well, you know, at least they're not doing drugs. Like that kind of smile. Yeah. So like I wanted to talk about something because I've been learning to unmask and I'm still in the process of it, but I want to talk about something that I haven't heard anyone really talk about or say for whatever reason. This is not a scripted video, you can tell 4 minutes in, 4.5. Something that people don't really talk to you about or like inform you and tell you is when you're learning to unmask, a lot of childhood memories are going to come back to you. Not because of like, oh man, I used to do this and that's so cool, I used to love that. Like that's part of it. But they kind of forget to mention the shitty side. Because like you've grown up, you've grown, you've learned, you've changed over the years as you know, like, and you, the autistic ADHD person, you spent years, decades of your life conforming and you know, forcing yourself into little boxes that society was like, yeah, let's get it. And you're like, I hate everything right now. I am so viciously uncomfortable. And it's just like, they can see you're uncomfortable. They can see you don't like it. They just don't care enough to do anything about it. So like they leave you in that little box, right? The box that is crushing every part of your body, brain, and soul. And like, then you go, you know what? This doesn't make sense. I am doing this and nobody else is doing it. You're not doing it, and you're not doing it, and you're not doing it. Why am I the only one doing it? This is normally when people get diagnosed, right? Like you find out like, oh, I'm doing it because society told me I'm supposed to do it. Because that's what's supposed to happen. It's just like blindly accept it. Don't actually like do anything, right? So then you finally start to unmask, learn to unmask. And as you do so, you get in touch with parts of yourself that you're like, oh, I didn't even know that was there, and I didn't even know that was a good thing. Awesome, cool. But then you start getting memories of childhood, of like shitty, terrible things that happened, like bullying or harassment, or bad things that maybe don't need to be mentioned, but like bad things that happened that people thought were okay behavior and were not okay behavior, because you shouldn't treat people like that because they're different. Period. Like, that's it. The only difference is like when they're kids, there's no filter, right? So when they're kids, it's like blatant and obvious. And normally an adult will step in at some point eventually. It may take a stupidly long time, but eventually an adult steps in and is like, okay, enough of that. Let's like go do something else now. Which isn't really controlling the situation or helping. It's just distracting the kids from what's happening, which that's a whole conversation, but we're not here for that today. So you start unmasking and being yourself. And then you start getting the memories come back, and you realize the memories are coming back because while you've grown up and you've changed and you've become this amazing person who, like maybe you've got more empathy, maybe you've got more sympathy for the world around you because you grew up in a world that treated people like you like trash. So now you're like, well, I'm not going to treat people like that, like trash. I'm obviously going to be better because I know how it feels to be on the other end, and it sucks. Unfortunately, the world didn't grow up. You did. You changed. You conformed and contorted and broke yourself to fit in this shitty box. When you finally got out of it and started healing, the world didn't change at all. It's still the same world as when you were a kid. That means people still treat people like us. Autistic ADHD people, they still treat us the same. And that's why those memories come back. The ones you thought you'd forgotten, the ones that were tucked deep away, the ones you thought like, oh, no, that didn't happen, or maybe it was just a dream, or I'm just like exaggerating or something, right? And it's either you thought it because someone told you this, or because your brain didn't want to believe that it was that bad. It was that bad. It was. The brain is a fascinating thing. It will do anything and everything within its power to protect you. So I thought I would mention, these are things that come back. And you as a neurodivergent person, autistic ADHD person, you have to face it. You have to deal with it. You have to experience it again. And like you thought, right? Because this is what I thought, right? Oh, well, I'm grown up now and the world has changed and we've progressed and we're better. So like, that's not going to happen anymore. Yeah, we haven't progressed that much. We haven't progressed that much. And like you get uncomfortable because your brain's like, I've been through this, I know how this goes, oh crap. So you try to like, your brain weirdly instinctively tries to kind of half mask, like not completely like to the extent you were before, but like half the amount, like half that, right? Your brain tries to like half that, just enough to like make them stop looking at you and treating you the way they're doing it, thinking you're not aware of it when you're very, very aware of it. And then it doesn't work because you have uncorked that bottle. You've opened the box. You have taken the lid off of Pandora's box and it has disintegrated into thin air. You can't get it back now. You uncorked the genie, it ain't going back in the bottle. And this isn't a regular, you get 3 wishes and he leaves genie. This is like, you just let him out and he got free. That's it, gone. Which is a good thing, but like also means that now you're like, oh crap, I can't undo what's been done. There is no turning back. There is no fixing this. There is no magically making things go back. Because the reality is you get scared. You get scared because you're like, I don't want to be treated like I'm less than. I don't want to be treated like I'm trash. I don't want to be treated like I am somehow weird or wrong or broken or dysfunctional because I am different. And you know that's why they're treating you that way, because you have been through it before. You recognize it. Your brain's like, no, yeah, I remember this. I remember this very clearly. The downside is you can't do anything about it. You can't control other people's actions. You can't control how they feel. You can like give them all the knowledge in the world, but if they don't want to change, they won't. But it doesn't mean that they have the right to treat you the way they're treating you. It doesn't mean that they should be allowed to treat you the way they're treating you. But they will. And you will continue to have that because the world hasn't changed yet. It's been so long. So long. And the world still hasn't changed. And I'm not talking dramatic changes, just a bit, like a bit more acceptance, a bit more patience, a bit more kindness. And they'll pretend, they'll say, yeah, it's changed so much. And they'll try to convince you because, you know, you're the disabled person. So you're not the intelligent one in the room, right? Yeah. Except for the fact that you know that facial expression is pity. You know the underlying message of what they're saying is you are less than. You know that the way they treat you is different than the way that they treat literally anyone who's not like you. And the reason they treat you the way they treat you is because you're different and because of your disabilities. You're aware of all of this. You're not stupid. You figured it out like years ago. That's why you started masking in the first place. Masking didn't just out of thin air because someone told you to. You started doing it because you realized people who act like this get treated better than people who act like me. So I have to act like this so I can get treated like a normal human. How is it that we as a species, right, as a human species, okay, how is it that we have been recording history for 2023 years and we still haven't figured out how to be more empathetic or kind or accepting or loving? 2023 years. We've got recorded history of 2023 years, and we haven't been alive that long. We've been alive way longer than that. That's just the recorded history. I don't know. I'm sorry I don't have any answers. The one thing I will say is I'm not really a person who will give up. So if you are like me, autistic, ADHD, diagnosed later in life especially, and you're finding you're struggling, hi, I'm struggling too. And I'm not really going to give up. And if you want to join me on this life, just life in general, if you want to just be part of life with me, keep fighting. Because I'm not fucking quitting. I don't want to. The world may not be great for us right now, but it can be in the future. And if we quit, it definitely won't be in the future. So we just got to keep going. Keep being ourselves. Also, just prepare, because like those memories are definitely still there, and the pain that you've experienced with them is still very much there. It just hasn't been unlocked yet. And when it is, it sucks. It just sucks. But hopefully in the future, things will be better. People will be kinder, more empathetic, and understanding. That's all I've got. I can't keep doing more for now.